Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Oxenfree. Let's continue. So we're going to run through the building with the radio and see if we find any collectibles in here. The Army Radio Control School. As long as we're not seeing time go forward in any way, it probably would have been nicer since this is kind of a point and click adventure game of sorts. It would have been probably nicer if we could have just pulled up a watch on our phone, a clock on our phone, and
if you want directions, this golf uniform India
G
Delta
I D
Echo can help.
E.
If you want directions, this golf uniform India Delta Echo can help. If you want directions, this...
Let's not listen to that all over again. There's a TV show that tried to exist, a sci-fi show a few years back that this game kind of reminded me about. And it really has nothing to do with the story or anything, but it did make it feel like, had this game been kind of episodic, not in the way that it's DLC that you have to buy different episodes, but had we played an act and then it wrapped up the events of those acts after an hour or 30 minutes of gameplay, and then the next act would potentially do like a recap. There might have been something there of a better experience, because this does kind of feel like it's trying to tell me a episodic horror story, and there's a lot here that could have been recapped and retold. I'm gonna probably have to go right back to that room, because we'll see if we get a different hint for a different letter.
Time for Fina Lima
S-L-E
Echo
E
Papa in the middle of things. Time for Fina.
We've seen mirrors kind of everywhere, and I guess these posters now make more sense. We're looking for anomalies, we're looking for letters. If we find the letters, they should just be things on the floor, which weirdly means that they were always there, and we didn't see it because we were hallucinating, or they're magically appearing. Yeah, there's kind of like an Alan Wake-esque... Yeah, we definitely looked in this area. There's kind of like an Alan Wake-esque storytelling here that if they made it more like a TV show, I think I'd feel a little bit happier with that. The first transmission from the lost soldiers were reported here by a signal officer training new recruits. I heard about it soon after. Yes, word of the childlike, almost playful messages spread quickly, but the broadcasts were usually dismissed as an ongoing prank, faulty equipment, or an AM station bouncing off the Midland. However, after I successfully decoded one as a mayday from Calvin Gilbert, an electrician who perished in the USS Canolas, I knew it had to be something more. And so here we have another... I was just randomly at the right place, apparently. And it seems like you just kind of have to be in the right place and wait long enough and it will unlock. And then you unlock a door. And then we'll get another one of these anomalies. Really, we just have to look at the brightness once it gets brighter. 89.9 anomaly.
Can we just go into the cave now? No, sure. I just want you to have a good time. Wait, I think there's something down there. Wait, Jason, don't trip. There's a... Jason? Something keeps touching my leg in the water, and I don't know what it is.
We don't have a character named Jason. I don't recognize that name. So they're throwing in yet another person. And I did just see that what is hovering there is a frequency number of an anomaly. So if we have to pull out a pencil and paper and write down all the numbers, that's not gonna cut it. I'm gonna say forget that real quick. Oh, the letter is right there.
Maggie brought her friend Anna here to help, I guess.
That's an interesting little drawing down in the bottom there. Let's just look at that for a second. If you can draw relatively that well, why are we seeing small, very zoomed out, pixely 3D models of people? Yeah. Again, I'm not sure if this story, if more money had been spent paying more writers to give it a second or third pass, and if this wasn't just like a visual novel game, I'm not sure if you wouldn't have gotten a better story as a visual novel than trying to make this more like a point and click adventure, but then not really having any point and click adventure elements. It's an interesting thought that perhaps they had originally intended this to be a very traditional point and click adventure with lots of people and lots of items, and they just ran out of budget. But that's very questionable, because even extremely low effort, no budget games often can get pushed out on Steam Direct as having a lot more items and interactions and characters. So it just seems like they were trying to do something different, and the different thing that they kind of seem like they're doing is just having nothing. Every little scene, I don't want to be too cruel here, but every scene is just a big ball of nothing unless there's an interaction in that scene. But a typical player is going to be in that scene 3 or 4 times and only get maybe one interaction. Alright, let's read this now. When people in the comms department began transferring off, I was able to convince my higher-ups, including, coincidentally, one eventual Army passenger aboard the canola, Henry Griffin, to bring Anna aboard as a replacement. Anna has been working in broadcasting, so it made enough sense to the upper ranks. Incidentally, when I dream, it's usually during this time period amidst the change, and I'm trying to prevent Anna from ever coming. So it seems like Maggie Adler, I think that's her name, talked to somebody in the past, Army officer Henry Griffin, to bring Anna in the past. So it seems like she manipulated things to bring Anna, to the island and to the radio control school, and that eventually led to her, I guess, getting killed or disappearing or getting taken over by the ghost, which at this point, ghost seems to be a very accurate description. So all we're trying to do right now is work our way around the place we're supposed to be so that we can get the last two anomalies and get the remaining letters if we can get them all. I don't think we can actually get them all. And we can just walk around this area with the radio on, and that'll tell us quite a bit. Now, is this a radio controlled door? Because kind of every door is a radio controlled door. And the radio colors of the letters don't change when you're doing the radio control. They seem to kind of like to hide the right signal close to other red herring signals. There is a slight problem with the idea of being able to hear radio signals from the past. Yeah, you would almost certainly be immediately flooded with a lot of radio signals to the point where everything would just be noise. Because it seems like they're from different points in time, which would increase it and quite a bit. Let's see. We're gonna have to be a little bit more slow. This is not a good system, and if there was like a special peripheral where you were turning a dial or tuning a radio for in real life to work with this, that really wouldn't improve the game in any way. Maybe we just don't get in this building ever. That would kind of be the only door, though, that doesn't open. We've seen a door open, almost every other door open, except for at the main street. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the doors on Main Street actually open also. These kids are kind of dumb, though, because that tunnel had been blocked off, remember? One assumes that that tunnel must go to a larger part of the city, and like the idea that there's absolutely nobody on the island is kind of insane. So they rather quickly abandoned the idea that they'd find any other person, which they probably shouldn't have.
A penny for a whiskey, India.
W-I-S
Hotel.
wish. So it's the wishing well.
A penny for a whiskey, India. Cena.
Remember, we have
Hotel.
a photo here with our brother on this wishing well.
A penny for a whiskey, India.
They, Maggie and Anna tried to bring the soldiers back in the cave.
After stealing equipment from the relay station, Anna and I entered the cave. Anna must have been really young when Maggie brought her to the station. Maybe that happened in the same timeline and not in the past. Otherwise, the age difference would be weird. Let's see. After stealing equipment from the relay station, Anna and I entered the cave just before dawn to try and communicate directly with the crew of the USS Canola. The thing here will be really surprising when it has nothing to do with the crew of the USS Canola, and these ghosts are just really good at lying. We successfully tuned it to the source of the temporal terror. We spoke, albeit briefly, to Henry Griffin, the SOC sergeant who died on the sub, but then the power overwhelmed my dear Anna, and she was absorbed into the ridge. All of the remains there now is a flickering hue of a partially open gate, a window to a perpendicular space that seems to have augmented the submarine's call. But of all my regrets, perhaps the deepest is knowing Anna's last vision of me was of me fleeing in terror. Okay. So, let's take note. We've got this photo. And if looking at a photo in a specific space triggered anything, now would be the time for that to happen. That doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. We have 4 more letters, which also implies that we're unlikely to get all of the letters done. And I want to see if maybe the radio here.
United States. To behave with dignity and force.
Day events. Dredged by Franciscan friars, this freshwater well was never actually used.
That's the thing that we get normally. So there would have to be even a higher or lower frequency that also did something with this in this area. Or not. Or the sign is just missing. They did say the sign was missing. Okay. So, next we're looking just for an anomaly. Which I don't know if I want to go that direction quite yet. There was the Netflix interactive movie Bandersnatch that came out a few years ago, and I have a bit of a fear that this story might go that way, in which at the very end there's a possibility that you could type in a number, but throughout the rest of it there had been no number input at all in the game, and you were highly unlikely to really have remembered the number, so much so that the game just tells you what the number is that you're supposed to type in if you're paying attention. If I have to do some kind of code breaking with all of the anomaly frequencies and type in a number, that would be really frustrating. It oddly doesn't seem like there is an anomaly in this area. What would it say that if one specific area didn't have an anomaly in it? I guess we're not gonna go down the well, that would be a little crazy. So, yeah. Since we're just running around trying to get collecting.
It's 4 in the morning, which is usually about the time everyone decides if they're going to bed or ordering another 3 pizzas.
Yeah? What's your vote usually?
We just triggered the time going forward.
Never leave pizza on the table. It's like getting 11 in blackjack. Just double down. Don't even think about it.
You think this tuning into the tear thing's gonna work? Like, really?
To be fair here, I really only understood like 6/12 of the whole scheme, so...
6/12. Well, that's better than me. I just kind of wish that I felt like these ghosts were just a little concerned that their plan won't work. I just feel like they're pretty confident. Like they know by sunrise they're all going to be shopping for school supplies. Or maybe that's just me.
It seems like, or maybe that's just me, is a default response when you don't respond and you don't want to leave it hanging. Alright, let's see if there's a letter in this area. We triggered something, so there is something about this part. LIMEFTE. LEFTE. This is a different voice giving us a different hint. Interesting. And LEFTE. Here we're hearing animals on the radio. Here's an anomaly. It's just over here on the left. Easy, real easy to overlook these things.
Baychimo, Thresher, Peterhoff, Arizona.
Apparently I'd already found that one. So LEFTE. Left edge. Must be over here, this area that we hadn't run into before. And this is another anomaly. Did we get this anomaly before?
Yesterday, the remains of 4 bodies were discovered in 2 cars submerged west of Cape Mears. How the cars got in the water, no one.
See, I don't even know what the whole deal is there. And see, I was kind of forcing him to climb upward, and that slowed down me actually getting to a place, and I'm the one that matters because I'm the one that has to pick up all the items and do everything.
Oh, Maggie thought that the way the ghosts can talk to us and vice versa is waves.
Well, no, duh. Sound waves. Radio frequency waves. Some kind of wave. It's definitely not a particle, and there's only particles and waves in the universe as far as we know. Anna and I frequently conducted tests at what was one of the East Barracks here during the brutal winter of 51, I believe. That's what it says. Waves of any kind, radio, nuclear, electromagnetic, those are all very different types of waves, seem to be able to pass through all existences under certain circumstances, which explains our ability to get communiques sent from them. This might also justify the frequency of hearing one of Canola's electrician's call signs, Calvin Gilbert, coming in echo through the relays. on April 4th, 1952, we would attempt to reverse the manifest breakdown and bring the soldiers back. So that probably is this radio signal that we keep hearing, where it is just saying letters, basically, nothing else. Let's see if I can pull it up. I also had some Morse code that I don't want to have to look up a code to decode Morse code either. Maybe you don't get that station everywhere. Well, we definitely know 140.1 wasn't showing anything new. Unless we run into a time loop or something here, it seems like we just had that conversation for kind of no reason. And I guess we just need to keep moving forward. This whole section with the kicking of the ball and all that, and the time loop, I don't know if this section really mattered that much. I guess it would have been a bad mistake if the kids had just decided to set up a tent and stay in the campgrounds. So now we go to the area where we're supposed to go. One kind of assumes you won't be able to get out of being possessed if you killed yourself. So, or by intention or accident. So we'll have to.
Now the station's up at the top of the hill.
Be careful there.
I hope this works.
Yeah, so we managed to run everywhere we were supposed to run, except for the Towny Woods and the Harden Tower. So what I think I'd like to do is leave this area if we don't trigger anything.
People lose their names and give them to Golf, Romeo,
G-R-A-V-E-S.
Victor, Echo, Cena.
Alright, we know what the graves are.
People lose their names and give them to Golf.
So I don't know why it was a male voice before.
She thinks that the ghosts were pushed out of our reality and maybe aren't actually dead?
My belief bolstered by Anna's in my research conducted largely on the Catbird station where the interruptions were rare is that the men and women of the USS Canolis, why would there be women on a submarine in that time, were separated from our dimensional existence by an implosion of the submarine's nuclear reactor. I identified one passenger, Henry, by his call sign and his confused diction in reliance on game logic says to me that their emotional state, if not mental state, has been reduced to that of a child, a thought I cling to when I envisioned Anna's dream. And the call sign is written on that as F1, number sign F139. Let's see.
ZBK 1. ZBK. ZBK 1.
Yeah, it says 1 ZBK, not
ZBK
F.
ZBK.
So,
ZBK
if there was
ZBK.
a call sign specifically that
ZBK 1. ZBK.
that we were specifically supposed to match with one of the anomalies, of which we're still missing 2. I don't feel like I've run into something that was F139. There's an anomaly up at the top there, so that's great. How many letters do we have left? 2. So by the feels of it, we will very possibly in the next recording finish the game in a weird way, like, or at least get close to finishing this act. So that goes to Towie Woods, which there's no more letters. I'm not sure we've even been to Towie Woods before, because there may have not been a reason to be there. And this also goes to Towie Woods. Interesting. Why 2 paths to the same place? Interesting. It doesn't seem like the game is going to even let me go that direction. Maybe we'll have a split thing that happens where one of us goes the upper path and one of us goes the lower path. Or maybe the game is just really not going to let me go the Towie Woods until we move the story forward. Nope, it's not. Alright. So either we missed out on the last 2 photos, and maybe we missed out on one of the letters. By all means, though, it seems like the letters don't have much of a code on it, but if there is a code here, it kind of gets broken with this one, because this is just a picture of a pen and paper, which doesn't point to any location. Whereas some of these other things could easily have been indicators or pointers to other indications, but they don't really line up that way. Not really. Like, if there was a code here where you were supposed to go to the statue, then take a photograph? Yeah. I don't see anything particularly there that would be doable. And we haven't gotten anything new to the story in probably about an hour, and we moved the time forward to 4 a.m. and I forget what time they said they were going to fully take us over, but it seemed like it was probably somewhere around 6 or 8 in the morning, so we're running out of time, and the time skips are getting larger every time we walk into place. We were at the beginning of the game kind of just moving forward like an hour every time we accomplished something, and then at some point it seemed like we skipped quite a few hours. And so who knows what's going to really happen here. We have some very overconfident ghosts that seem like they're going to succeed in killing us and taking us over, and maybe that will just be the ending of the game. It's kind of hard to figure out what we could even do to stop them. Anyways, since I don't have anything else to say other than my controller is still vibrating like crazy, it's so badly programmed. Yeah. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.